Okay, so this is part 2 in my How to Make a Letter Journal video series, and I wanted to talk to you this time about paper, what kind of paper to use. My main message really is it doesn't have to be fancy paper, and any paper you think of is probably fine. So this envelope here is one that somebody sent to me and that I just unpicked and stuck something over the actual address where my address is, and I've just added some paint to. What's really nice about this piece of paper is that it's quite a nice textured paper, and so you can see that where it came to putting paint on it, could really get that texture. So that's one option for types of paper. Another kind of paper that you can use is sheets out of magazines. So you can see in this one I've used a kind of a page out of a magazine, and I have applied a bit of paint to it and some other bits and bobs, but I'll talk more about backgrounds later. So yeah, magazine pages are a good one. Another idea for types of paper are old calendars, and you can see here I've chopped up a year planner. It's actually this year's, but I decided I wasn't going to use it because I had too many different kinds of diaries floating around, and this one had the advantage of having really nice paper on the back, a nice print, so that one works quite well. This kind of paper is a bit wacky. It's I think it's fake money that gets burnt as part of kind of Chinese New Year or Buddhist rituals. Beautiful gold in the centre. I've painted it with a little bit of a gel medium, a gloss gel medium, and put some white acrylic on the back. That's just because it was quite flippy floppy, and it still is. But yeah, that's another kind of paper that you can use. Envelopes are great, and what's good about envelopes is that normally they're not something that you get to use again. It just goes into the recycling bin. Also, what's nice is that if it's your letter journal that you're starting, it has your name already on it and address. And also, if someone auntie has sent it to you, it might already have some adornment on there. So this is an example of one that has my address on it and has did have a return address on the back, but I've just covered that up. Excuse me, it's my cold. Another kind of piece out of a magazine, and this one I've just wiped, kind of dry wiped with a kitchen sponge that had some orange paint and a little bit of brown paint on that, and you can see here that that makes a perfectly fine background for actually drawing on or painting on. That's a nice one. Yeah, more envelopes, so that's another kind of envelope there, and just out of courtesy, if it's from someone who's not participating in the round that the journal is being sent to, so if it's not one of the other 3 or 4 or 5 people that you're doing the letter journal with, just cover up their details before you send it on, just out of courtesy. Another kind of paper that is quite cool is paper bags, so shopping bags that you get. So you can see on this one the red and white is actually like a gift bag that I've cut up and put on there. And then again, magazine pages, so not only the photographs out of magazine pages, but also kind of like the coloured paper. So this one from some kind of an ad, but I really like this colour here and the pattern, so I thought that was quite nice. And here is a piece of kind of what I like to call homemade washi tape, but I'll explain that in another video. And then just another little bit of magazine on the inside. So just remembering that the paper is not that important, and in fact it's really fun to use bits of paper that are already lying around, paper that's already had a life of its own once already and that you can reuse, and also different textures will be really nice for people who are doing the next round. Like this one is very smooth. This kind of texture soaks up ink in a particular way and is really nice for using markers and that kind of thing, whereas paper that you've put some acrylic onto can be quite textured. You can see here in the close-up of the colouring in that actually the tooth or the texture that the acrylic paint has given it gives something for the coloured pencil to grab onto, and a little bit of unevenness that is really highlighted when you start applying colour, so that's really nice. I've even used some newspaper here. I guess it's more of a background than the base sheet. Thought about using newspaper as a page, but I think it would just be too susceptible to tearing. But perhaps you could play with putting some kind of edging around it or doing 2 layers. On this one I've used the newspaper here. When I do my painting, I had a bit of white acrylic on there, I think it might have been gesso, and just put some highlighter over the top of that and pen, and then stuck that on there. So you can even use newspaper, and it's, oh, wrong way. It's quite nice how I like how the words and numbers kind of shine through. So that was just a quick word around papers. Be creative, see what happens. It's just for fun, so you know you can't really go wrong. And yeah, good luck choosing your paper. Hope it goes well.